So today I'm going to be changing out the old propane pigtails and putting new ones on. So I'm willing to bet if any of you have a camper or a travel trailer, you probably know how to do this already, but in case you don't, it might help somebody out. So this here is your propane regulator, and these ends here are where your two propane pigtails go. So they just come from here and screw in directly to your propane tanks. The old ones were just screwed in from here, and it's just a simple lefty-loosey with a 7/16 wrench. So these here in the regulator have a gas line tape, the yellow propane tape you can see there. I don't usually actually tape the pigtail ends. I'm not sure why. I've never really had a problem with it, but these are taped here, and that's part of the regulator. So right now I have the propane shut off. I'm not sure if you can see that. If you look really close, you might be able to see that it's red and it says R. That means replace, basically because this propane tank here ran out of propane, and when it does that, you will see that your regulator will turn red like this and say R for replace. When it's good, it'll show green, which I'll show you in a little bit. So yeah, these pigtails have been on for about 2 years, and I'm replacing them because you can see it's starting to crack, which I can only expect would happen after 2 years of being out in the summer in the heat and in the winter in the cold. So yeah, it's time to replace those. I've never verified that they leak or anything. The propane seems to last just as long as normal, but it's never a bad idea to replace your propane hoses when you start seeing cracks like that. So here are the new ones. They are 24-inch Camco heavy-duty propane pigtail connectors. I'm not really sure why it says heavy-duty. They're not. I mean, I don't think they're very heavy-duty. They crack after 2 years, but we'll go ahead and get those put on. So it's pretty simple, really. This just plugs into here, and it's a simple righty-tighty with your 7/16. So I've got the first propane hose on here tight, and you just bring this around and it just gets plugged over your tank. This is a brand new propane tank. This is the same thing, righty-tighty. Sorry, I have to switch hands here. I screw this on as tight as it possibly will go. So I've got the second pigtail on as well, and you probably saw from the other clip I had a second wrench on this other nut here just to come onto that for leverage, I guess, with the 7/16 wrench. This is just an adjustable wrench, and I've just been using that for this here. Got both tanks hooked up now. I also use 20-pound tanks if I have them or need them. These ones here are the 30-pound ones, but if one runs out and I've got a 20-pound one that's full, I'll just throw it on here as well. It's no big deal. But you can see here on the propane regulator, this says supply. So this tank here is empty, which is why you see that it's R for replace and it's red. So I'm going to move the supply to this gas line, this pigtail, because this pigtail is hooked up to this full propane tank. So now we have the gas line over here, and I'm going to open up this propane tank slowly. I don't want to cause any airlocks or anything like that, so I just kind of open it slowly. And as I'm doing that, you'll see this change to green. So I'm just slowly opening it now. See, it just switched to green, which means good, which means this tank has propane in it. So that's pretty much it as far as changing the propane pigtails. Personally, I just put the supply on the tank that I'm running at the time. Some people, I believe, set this in the center and they keep both propane tanks, as long as they have propane in them, opened up. That's more so, I think, in my opinion anyway, it's more so for people who, you know, leave their camper for maybe several days or several weeks, so that if one propane tank happens to empty, it just automatically takes gas from the second one. Myself, I put this on whatever tank that I'm using, and when it goes empty, I just close the propane tank and I switch it to the other one and then open that one up. That's just a personal preference. That's how I like to do things. That way I know I can run one completely empty, because I've also heard if you keep it in the middle with both tanks open, one tank won't go completely empty before switching to the second propane tank. It's just when it gets so low, I guess, it'll switch to the second one. But this way I know I'm running my tanks completely empty by doing it this way. I had the fridge turned off too when I was doing that, just so it wasn't trying to get gas when there was no gas available. This is just another thing that I like to do to make sure that, what am I trying to say here? I guess your lines don't get airlocked. I like to light the stove and run that just for a second. While that's running, I'll turn on the fridge, and I just heard it light in the back, so I know there's not going to be any airlocks. So now the fridge is running on propane again. I can shut this off. It's already really hot in here from the wood stove. There we go. That's it. So that was just a quick snippet of how to change propane pigtails. I hope it helped somebody out. Like I said, I'm sure most people know how to do that kind of thing already, but if you don't, hope it helped you out. I'm gonna go throw these things out now.